Hey everyone, it is late at night and I am Norman. I have never owned or even seen a Pagani Design watch before, but now, thanks to the fake moon swatches, I actually own one. I'm going to explain how that happened, and tonight we'll review this amazing looking watch. So let us begin. Alright, so how did I end up owning this watch? Recently, Average Joe Watch Reviews did a video on fake moon swatches that were popping up on AliExpress, and they were so cheap, like 20 bucks. I figured, you know what, maybe I ought to get one and then I'll have an idea, sort of, what it'd be like to own a moon swatch, but I didn't really relish the idea of buying a fake watch. I never want to do that. And after speaking with my brother, he was telling me that he actually bought himself a Pagani Design Speedmaster homage. And at $100, I thought to myself, there we go. Why not see kind of what it's like to own an actual Speedmaster? So I bought this watch. So this is the box that they arrive in. You get a Pagani Design guarantee card and a little booklet. Yeah, a little bit of chronograph instructions there. Okay. Before we look at the watch, let's look at the bracelet that it shipped on. I haven't even unwrapped this half of it. When it arrived, I unwrapped this side of the bracelet and thought to myself, no, it's coming off. So it's very chintzy feeling. I mean, this was a $100 watch, so gotta cut corners somewhere. The buckle itself is pretty decent. It doesn't pop open or anything like that. You have these pushers here that lock it shut, and some branding on there. The clasp is pretty good, but this just feels kind of light and chintzy. However, it does have solid end links, so that's pretty cool. Here is the watch itself. And I have this on my fancy shell cordovan strap. This is actually the most expensive strap that I own. It is a Hodinkee strap, and it looks great on this watch. Sadly, this doesn't have the white hands, which is a bummer. In all the pictures it shows it with white hands, but these are silver. There's some other anomalies to this watch that I'll point out later. Looking at the lugs, you can see that the pins are way out on the edge of these lugs. It looks a little odd with a strap like this, but not too bad when you're wearing it. The finishing on this case is great. Some of it's brushed, some is polished, and there's some really great case design going on here. I haven't recently looked at an actual Speedy, so I don't know if the case design there is quite like this. I imagine that it's pretty close. This is kind of a tall watch, but it doesn't look like it. We have some branding on the crown there. This is a screw down crown, so we can unscrew that. Not too bad. Pop this out. And we can see that the date is already starting to turn. And there we go. So about 15 minutes or so, and then it flips over right away at midnight. I haven't even bothered to set the date. I just kind of ignore it, but it was set to the correct date when I received it, so there's no real resistance as you're setting the time. It's kind of loose feeling, but not too terrible. And we'll pop that back in and see what it's like to screw that back in. See if I can get it to catch there. There we go. It's a little bit tricky getting the threads to catch, but not too bad. Bear in mind, this is a $100 watch. And for that price, you get amazing specs. For example, this bezel is ceramic, so that's pretty cool. And it does look like a Speedy, except for those silver hands. And I like the way the bezel is polished around the edge there. and the way it's just a thin little edge kind of raised up from the case. It's really cool looking. And that crystal is great. This is actually a sapphire crystal. I mean, these specs are amazing for the price. For the subdials, we have a 24-hour here. Then we have the seconds. You can see that it's quartz. And then we have a chronograph subdial here. So if we operate this, it clicks nicely, and we have sort of a sweeping chronograph hand there. And we'll let this go around a full minute and check out that chronograph subdial. All right, we are approaching 1 minute. And so far that hasn't really moved. Oh, I guess it has. It's just so small it's kind of hard to read. So yeah, it's gone over a minute. And then we'll stop this and reset it. And it snaps up to the top. So as far as how the chronograph performs, it's kind of like having a mechanical chronograph, even though it is quartz. This dial looks great. You can see there's some lume there. Now this is one of those watches where I haven't noticed the lume glowing, so I don't think it's very strong at all. With watches like my Everest, I'll see those hands kind of glowing throughout the day as you enter like a room that's a bit dimmer. But this one, I haven't seen it glow yet. So let's see how that lume performs. Okay, you can kind of see it glowing in the light there. Let's take it someplace dimmer. Alright, not too shabby actually. That is pretty decent. It doesn't look like it's going to last very long though. It's already lost its edge. In person it looks brighter than it does on camera. So that's pretty cool. I like the hour markers lume, how they're just little dots, that's pretty cool. And if you're using the chronograph, it has a little pip of lume on the end of that chronograph hand, so that's pretty cool also. Nothing on the subdials, so you're not going to be tracking minutes in the dark, but yeah, it's kind of fading. Decent, I suppose. Surprisingly, this watch feels really solid, and as brilliant as they are, this cheap watch actually reminds me of a Christopher Ward. Just in some of the case design and how it feels. Pretty crazy. Looking at the case back, we have the spaceship with the hilarious little acceleration lines there. It's a pretty nice case back. It feels decent quality. The etching is really nice. We see the model number there. It has 100 meters of water resistance, some branding, and it's screwed down. Pretty cool. When I first got this watch, my first thought was, man, modern watches are just way too big. I'll do a comparison and kind of show you what I was seeing. I mean, this was listed as a 40mm watch, so when we compare it to my Dan Henry, which is a 38, and I was shocked at how large it seems. Look at how small it looks compared to this. And when I received this watch, I was wearing the pull router. And there we have vintage compared to modern size. But something just didn't seem right. This seemed larger than a 40 to me. And when I got out my calipers and measured it, it actually measures at 42mm. Now on the website it says that it has a 40mm dial, but that's not the case either. I put the calipers up against the edge of this crystal here and it was like 36, 37, something around there, not 40. So this is actually a 42mm watch, and I felt a little bit more sane at that point in time. But even at this large size, when you're wearing it, it's kind of fun. As for the specifications on this watch, it is listed as a 40mm watch, but we know it's actually a bit larger. The case height is 14mm, the lug to lug is 48mm, the lug width is 20mm, the material is stainless steel, the crystal is sapphire. The movement inside this watch is a Seiko VK63. and it has 100 meters of water resistance. Alright, so let me take off the max bill, and we'll see what it's like to wear a shameless homage to a Speedmaster. Here is the Pagani Design Moon Watch on my 7-inch wrist. And that is actually super fun. It totally looks speedy-ish, which is great. I mean, you just can't mess with the Speedmaster's design. Just such a cool design. So what do I think of this watch? I really wish it had the white hands, like you see on the listings. Then it would look even more speedy-ish. And I wish it were like 39 millimeters maybe. I feel like it would look absolutely brilliant at a slightly smaller size. And of course, being a no-date person, I could do without that, but it is really subtle. It just kind of vanishes in the dial there, so it doesn't bother me that much. I just doubt I'll ever actually set it, so I don't know. The crystal looks really cool. And for the price, you really can't go wrong with this watch. I mean, if you want to kind of test drive the aesthetics of a Speedy, see what it's like to have one on your wrist for a while, before you decide to save and save for one, this might be a good option for you. I think I'm just a bit too picky to ever go for a Speedmaster. If they ever came out with like a 38mm no-date variant, sapphire, then I would probably have to go for one. Because I really like the design. I like the tonneau-shaped case. Yeah, Omega just nailed it with the design, and Pagani Design did pretty good at homaging it. I would recommend this, for sure. So there you have it, a super affordable, brilliant Pagani Design watch, and a glimpse at what it might be like to own a Speedy. Thanks for watching.